Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning, November 3rd, 2021. We get together with our distribution partners most weekday mornings at 7:59 a.m., just right before 8 o'clock Central. And our point is to train, to support, to share success stories, strategies, and tips. Historically, we've really had two types of distribution partners. We've had affiliates and white label partners. But as we covered on yesterday's training, our growth has really required us to add another layer to the organizational chart, and we call those our regional vice presidents. We introduced that yesterday. So we're not going to waste your time with the information that we covered yesterday on part one, but we're going to move on to part two today. So the topic yesterday and today is just a follow-up on building a leadership team of regional vice presidents. And we're going to drill into some of the very tactical steps that we need to follow. We have almost half of the 50 states covered, so we had a really good response from many of you yesterday that are wanting to run a given state. Of course, there is no cost to be a regional vice president. An interesting quote that we saw that I wanted to share with you, and it's very impactful if you stop to think about it. What George said is, we need to stop thinking about earning money. Instead, we need to start thinking about building a money-making machine. And that's true. I mean, it's going to be difficult to impossible to accomplish wealth and freedom through a job, through trading time for money. But if we can help other people solve their problems, if we can leverage the time and effort of others, that can magnify our earning potential. And so I think that's truly what the regional vice president role offers. So we will go ahead and just briefly review what we covered yesterday, but spend just a moment or two on it, and then we'll move forward, because the training was recorded yesterday. It was shared. Here's the link again, so you have access to it. But specifically, we're looking for individuals who are willing to serve as a regional vice president, RVP for short. There is no cost, there's no strings attached. I've many conversations with many of you yesterday, and it was almost like, this sounds too good to be true, right? How is it that someone can just plug into a role with no financial commitment, but such great opportunity? And we were very transparent yesterday of why that is. We need your help. We need a leader in each state, a regional vice president that's going to manage and motivate the white label partners that's on their team. And so it's good for us, and it's awesome for you. We did discuss that you do need to be a white label partner to qualify as a regional vice president, part of our national leadership team. And we went through the economic model yesterday. We won't spend a lot of time on that. I'm assuming you already understand that. But essentially what we concluded yesterday is, for each white label partner that you have on your team as a regional vice president, as long as they're meeting the minimum criteria, which is 8 access to capital clients enrolled per month, that should translate into around 25 grand a month for you. Obviously not all of it paid up front. Thus, if you're meeting our expectation as an RVP of adding at least one new white label partner per week, that's 4 a month, 4 times 25,000, there you're at the 100,000. So, but again, yesterday's training went into the economic model more. That's not our goal today. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the process flow here. I'll make it just a bit smaller so we can see the full process flow, and then we'll get into your questions. So if you signed up as a regional vice president, then obviously we need to support you and answer your questions, or maybe you haven't made that decision and you need more information. So of course we can address those questions momentarily. But let's go through the process flow. And I could use Zahn. I didn't get his permission, but Zahn is one of our regional vice presidents. He's proven to be very effective as a white label partner. And frankly, we started referring prospective white label partners already to Zahn. He closed his first one yesterday, just because we know that there's some really talented people that want to earn income that are a good fit for a white label partner, but they need some help, some support, and that's the role of the regional vice presidents. And so what I think you'll really like is it's not just you going out and developing white label partners. We'll be able to refer you prospective white label partners as well. And with one quick conversation, Zahn closed the gentleman, got him contracted. Okay, so what is the process flow once you are a regional vice president? The first thing that you need to do is get your joint venture agreement set up. As we covered yesterday, you will contract with the white label partner and you will define what you want to do in that relationship, and you will define the revenue split with them. Typically it's 50-50. On the training yesterday, we gave you a couple different links that you could get templates for to modify. And again, just using Zahn as an example, that's what he did. I don't know which of the two sites he went to, it doesn't really matter to me, but he went, got his joint venture agreement template set up. So he was able to start adding white label partners to his team yesterday. So if you are a regional vice president and you've not set up your joint venture agreement that you're going to use with your white label partners, that is priority one. And Zahn says he used lawdepot.com. So LAWDEPOT.com. So that's mission critical, right? You need to be able to establish the agreement between yourself as the RVP and the white label partner. Simple to do. It's flexible. You put in whatever terms that you want, but that's step one. Now, after that, then you can start approaching potential white label partners, and we can refer you some too, most likely, and you need to have them sign your agreement first. Now, it's designed where there's no cost for you to be an RVP, and it's designed so there's no cost for the white label partner. So that's the point here. So it's not Ponzi, it's not MLM, it's not network marketing. Not saying that there's anything wrong with multi-tiered market, all that. I'm not evaluating anything. I'm just clarifying that we want to earn a great income, not a good income, a great income, as we jokingly call it, an adult income, by helping others, not at their sacrifice. So typically you would not charge the white label partner, just as we have not, and we certainly don't charge our RVPs. So we need the joint venture agreement set up. That's between you and them. And then once you have a potential white label partner, you need to get them to sign that. So now they're on your team. That now you've defined the relationship and the revenue split. Step three is then go ahead and have them enroll as a white label partner on our site. And you're going to see this link frequently, right? Because that's the design of our model, is to have pretty much all resources for white label partners on one single website. So it's the red text labeled "Start Here." So you would have them do that after they've signed your joint venture agreement. So just like Zahn did yesterday, each time that you sign a joint venture agreement with a white label partner, I recommend just emailing that in. We'll have that on file. And then when the client comes through and signs up as I shouldn't say the client, once the person comes through and signs up as a white label partner, we know to attach them to you, because it's kind of these two pieces that conclude the structure. Now, let's talk about, so now they're on board. They're contracted with you. They've got a commitment to you. You figured out the revenue split. They're on board with us. What I strongly encourage, and this sometimes can be like pushing a rope, but what I strongly encourage is for you to have them complete the training. Well, where's the training, Tom? Well, again, you're going to get worn out because it's the same URL. If I could highlight it without everything else, sorry. It's the same URL that everything's parked on. And so I was talking to a white label partner yesterday, and it further illustrates why we need you as regional vice presidents. So I'm talking to the white label partner, and he's kind of just cumbersomely progressing through. And I won't mention his name, but I just asked him, I said, have you gone through the training that's on the white label page? Well, I kind of skimmed it. And he gave me a real vague answer. Well, I could tell, I mean, even if he went through it, he didn't learn it. That's the purpose of that page. And I realize, we're all busy and most of you are making big money. So this is probably even a hassle for you. But if you can't learn a new craft without putting some diligence and a little bit of time into it. So if you and I wanted to go become a firefighter or a policeman or a plumber, there's training and diligence necessary. It'll probably take about a full day for the average person to go through the white label partner training that's here. But I'll tell you right now, if you allow your white label partners to skip this step, I think it'll cost you money. I think it'll cost them money because clients won't progress properly and not understand what to do. And it greatly increases the chances that the white label partner will quit because they're like, well, I don't know what to do. Well, have you gone through the training diligently? No. Well, that's why you don't know what to do, right? So we're here to support you and you're there to support them, but it starts with them going through the training. So it's up to you how diligent you want to make that. Maybe you're a better teacher than I am. I wouldn't question that. If you got a better way to train them and prep them, but it's plug and play right now. All you need to do is get them to go through the training. And there's quite a few modules on that page because I just don't understand how people can think, well, I'm going to go out and make 100 grand a month, but I don't need to know much. To me, that sounds a little sketchy. No, if you're going to earn an adult income, you probably need to have some knowledge about how it works. But without beating that point anymore, that's up to you how you want to hold them accountable, how you want to assess them. But the training's there, it's plug and play. Next thing that you need to do as a regional vice president, as you bring on white label partners on your team, is they need to have their agreement set up. That's the agreement that they use for client contracting. I'm horrified, absolutely horrified. Sometimes I'll have a conversation with a white label partner and I'll ask them, well, you're contracting with these people before you submit them, right? These are your clients, right? No. Well, what the hell are you thinking? I mean, so now we're going to go raise them $1 million and they're not obligated to pay you anything? That's nonsense. So as described on the training page and a couple of the modules, each white label partner, of course, is contracting directly with their clients. We've provided the template. It's a Word template that they can go in and edit as much as they'd like or as little as they would like. Where is it at? No surprise, right? It's on the IIMFL white label page. So that would be step number 5. If there's any questions as we're going through this, fire away. We got a really big group today, which is fine, but we've got time to stop and answer questions. Okay, so let's review. So first, you got to get your joint venture agreement set up. Zahn used lawdepot.com. There was another one that I mentioned on the training yesterday, and the link to the training is right here. Then you get your white label partners to sign your agreement. So they're on board. It's kind of like you're their consultant, their coach, their mentor, their agent, whatever analogy you want to use. And then they sign up as a white label partner with us. We match it all up because you've provided us a copy of your joint venture agreement with them. Have them go through the training, which is the point we were just on, as well as having them set up their agreement. And it may be that you need to handhold them a little bit on getting this agreement set up. Okay, so now what I would strongly recommend is at no later than 0.6, frankly, as early as you want. I would encourage you to proactively schedule a 3-way call with Scott Stroud, our Chief Marketing Officer, because Scott is, well, he's on the Zoom right now, but Scott is awesome. He's professional, he's friendly, he's accessible, but I'm going to toot his horn. He has been the architect of these landing pages and automation sequences that have generated crazy results. We all told you the success of Jeff, and I think it was, now I forget if it was August or September, forgive me, but Jeff had over 400 conversions in 1 month, not leads, not prospects, 400 conversions and access to capital in 1 month. And Scott was the architect of the landing page and the automation sequence. You might say, well, what does automation sequence mean? Well, you and I are sophisticated enough to know that in many cases, prospects won't close after just their first exposure. So what Scott will create is an email drip campaign if you want, or a text drip campaign. There's a variety of options, but he will help your white label partners get their infrastructure set up, communicating the message that they want at the times they want out to their prospects. So again, using the success story of Jeff. So Jeff did in fact in 1 month have over 400 conversions. Of none of those did he speak with. It was Scott's automated machine. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't speak to your prospects, but I'm just giving you the case study. And we ended up, if I recall correctly, Scott can correct me if I'm wrong, but it was around 53 to 54% conversion rate. That is phenomenal. But was it just because Jeff is a smart guy, and Jeff is a smart guy? No, the system was built and it works. So strongly encourage you to take the time out of your busy day with each of your white label partners, get a 3-way call set up with Scott Stroud, our Chief Marketing Officer, and help facilitate a discussion to figure out how is each of your white label partners going to have their infrastructure set up. This is going to probably be the key. I don't want to say it's the key determining factor between success or failure. I won't go that far, but I do believe honestly that it's the key between significant volume versus minor volume, having that system set up. And frankly, if any of you, let's say you're not even a regional vice president, you're just a white label partner. If you have not visited with Scott and worked on a strategy for a landing page and lead conversions and sequence, shame on you, shame on us for not emphasizing that. You need to do that. Number 7, which is the end of the list, I know there's another page, but it's a blanket just spilt over, is we need to set weekly goals. Now, if you remember, and I don't want to test you, certainly don't want to insult you, but we have 4 training modules, 4 financial literacy modules that we take our access to capital clients through. And the first one is on business planning. And so I could quiz you, but I won't out of respect. So there's 4 types of or stages of business planning. There's the back of the napkin plan, where we just first come up with some sort of idea. We've not really vetted through it. And you always hear about that's how Southwest Airlines started, right? And then the second type of plan is in the sequence is a resource plan. What would it take to turn the light switch on to get this business idea up and revenue generating? The third phase of business planning is the full business plan. And that's what you and I do, or that's what the white label partners do, in fact, with the clients using LivePlan that we pay for and provide, is building out the full business plan, doing the market analysis and pricing and predicted volume and all that. But the fourth type of planning is the ongoing planning that we call SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. So I'm not trying to quiz you, but if you're not familiar with all of the training modules that clients go through, what we call the financial literacy, I recommend you review it. It's all on where would you find that? If I can highlight just this, it's right here, isn't it? So the point that I'm trying to get to is that we strongly encourage that you set weekly goals with each of your white label partners. Now, the goals need to be SMART: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. So, if someone's doing this full time, their goals will be larger than someone, most likely than someone that's just doing it as a part-time side gig. And that's fine. So that's why the goals, I don't think you can just go to each of your white label partners and say, here's what I want you to do every week, now go do it. Instead, you need to have them involved in their buy-in, but we need to have a plan. I think it's going to be a mistake. I think it's going to cost you money. I think it's going to cost them money to just plod along and not have a weekly plan. And I'd have a weekly goal setting call with them. And then the second week, you review, well, did we accomplish what we planned to do the first week? And okay, from what we learned and experienced and going forward, what do we want to plan to accomplish in the week ahead? So each meeting, strategy meeting that you have with them, goal setting meeting, except for the first one, really has two topics. Let's review how we did this past week, and let's look forward to the going forward week. What we know is that there's going to have to be lead generation for the white label partners. And again, the beauty of being a regional vice president is you're the leader, you're the mentor, you're not the doer. And that falls back on what George had said. Stop thinking about earning money. Start thinking about building a money-making machine. Well, a money-making machine, in case you're not reading between the lines, is you developing white label partners and helping them be successful. Because for every one of them that's successful, minimally successful in hitting at least 8 access to capital clients a month, you should be making 25 grand. Again, I know many of you are big hitters, and maybe 25 grand a month doesn't even move your needle, but that's per white label partner, my friend. And we need to be doing this with more than one, right? We need to be developing at least 4 a month, 1 a week. All right, so there's going to have to be some method of lead generation, and you're going to get them pretty far up the learning curve once they've gone through the training and you all have had your 3-way with Scott, our Chief Marketing Officer. But just to reiterate, there are 4 main ways. Don't know where that came from. There are 4 main ways that our white label partners generate leads. Going out and teaching our financial literacy, and that can be done in person or online, by buying leads, by generating leads organically, and then developing what we call an affiliate network, a referral network, which could be very simplistic or very complicated, but that's where people are referring in to the white label partner. And so that's part of what I think you need to work out with each of your white label partners during your weekly goal setting meetings is, what's our goal for the week? The goal certainly should be to have at least 2 access to capital clients enrolled per week. I would recommend setting a goal of 1 a day, so we're on track for 30 a month, which is the norm. But most likely, where those leads will come from, will be some combination of these 4. But you need to develop, in my opinion, you need to develop a plan with your each white label partner based upon what they want to do. Because some people love to go out and teach. Some people, take Beatrice, put her in front of an audience. She's like Tony Robbins, right? Everyone's listening, focused, taking notes. Other people would hate to be in front of a live audience. It's okay either way, but you need to have, because what's the flow? We've talked about this before. Our goal is to help you as a regional vice president make 6 figures a month. So that's the end goal. But we get there. How do we make that happen? Take a step back. We help the white label partners that you have on your team make money by hitting their minimum goals of at least 8 conversions a month. Well, how do the white label partners hit their goal? We need to have conversions. And how do we get conversions? We need leads. And so it starts with having your recruitment effort to recruit white label partners, which cost them nothing, cost you nothing. Then through the planning process, we need to figure out where they're going to get leads from. And some people are just naturally connected, so there's not even a question. But regardless, that's the point. This last bullet is maybe the most sensitive, and then we'll open it up for dialogue. I believe that when you, as a regional vice president, is working with your white label partners, you want to support them, but you want to hold them accountable. Because remember, you have no risk. As a regional vice president, you have no risk, no liability that I can think of. Because if you brought on a white label partner and they don't produce, is there something negative that can happen to you? No, I mean, that's fine. We know that some people will produce and some won't. You're not on the hook is the point. But the white label partner is in a little bit of a different situation. When they've contracted with us, they've agreed, they've promised after 1 ramp up month to generate at least 8 clients, access to capital clients a month. And so if they don't do that, as stated in the white label agreement, there's a $10,000 fee. I don't want to call it a penalty, but there's a $10,000 fee. Is that to you as a regional vice president? No, of course not. Is any part of that to you? No, of course not. But the white label partner needs to realize, hey, I've made a commitment. I'm going to receive training and support, but I need to do my part. And you could have someone with a 7th grade education and 3 eyes on their forehead, and they could still go out and recruit at least 8 clients per month in the white label program, the Access to Capital clients. And what's in it for you, of course, is by you supporting them and holding them accountable so they avoid the $10,000 fee, that they're generating at least 8 clients a month. Then that comes back to what we mentioned earlier and we talked about the economic model in yesterday's training, that you're pretty much assured of generating at least 25 grand a month from each white label partner. Okay, so let me shrink this down. Again, there's nothing on the second page, it just spilled over. So let me shrink this down. And I want to start with those of you who are white label partners and or regional vice presidents. Who has questions about any of the material that we covered today? Is any of it unclear? Do you disagree with any of it? What is it that we can do to dig deeper other than the agenda that we just went through that can help you go out and be successful starting today as a regional vice president? Or frankly, if you're just a white label partner, maybe some of this is helpful. Maybe you haven't had your strategy call with Scott. Maybe you're not setting up weekly goals. Maybe, sorry about that. Maybe you weren't clear on the 4 different ways of generating leads. Maybe we didn't reiterate enough that the training is all available, and it's crucial that you go through, and it's here on the white label page. Who has questions, comments, concerns that we can address? All right, so thanks, Timothy. So yes, we added, I don't remember the exact number, but we have about half of the states covered, because our goal is to have a regional vice president per state. And it doesn't have to be exactly like that, but that's our goal. And we have about half covered. So if you're interested in being a regional vice president, certainly go back. There's no cost, so there's no strings attached. Go back and watch yesterday's training if you haven't, and that lets you know how to email us and let us know you're interested. What we need to know is the state that you're interested in, and we need to know what your predicted number of white label partners that you will bring aboard in the month of November. Because this is not a long-term, let's work for 6 months before we see results. This is, let's hit the ground running and let's all see some results this month. Thank you, Timothy. Who else has questions regarding what we covered today or yesterday, or I guess what we didn't cover yesterday or today? What else is missing for you all to be able to execute and implement? Any questions, comments, concerns before we wrap it up today? Give you just a minute to type it into the Q&A function of Zoom, and if nothing pops up, then I guess we've got a crystal clear path to follow. All right, so Sarah's asking a good question. So she's asking, okay, so if she becomes a regional vice president, how long does she have to remain a regional vice president? Well, there's not an agreement. Your agreement really that establishes your role as a regional vice president is established with the white label partners that you recruit and contract with. So the point is, if you don't want to continue to be an active regional vice president, you don't want to continue to grow your team of white label partners, then you can stop recruiting new white label partners. That does not make your old agreements go away. That does not cut off your income stream. So you're good with whatever you've built, but you're right, Sarah, you're not locked in for a year or 10 years or 100 years or anything else. So you can try, if you want, to be a regional vice president for the month of November, see how it goes. as long as you hit our quota, our expectation of adding at least one white label partner per week, then we're happy to extend that role to you the following month. If we can't enroll at least 4 white label partners per month, then frankly, you're ineffective and you're not in the right role. But Sarah, that does not take away any of the white label partners you brought on. You would continue to get those overrides perpetually. So there's truly no strings attached to this. I think it's the perfect economic model whereby anyone can step in, earn potentially a great income, should be 6 figures a month with no investment, no cost, and no risk. There's no investment, no cost, no risk to be a regional vice president. Any other questions that anyone has today? Again, if you didn't watch yesterday's training, strongly encourage you to do so. If you've not visited with Scott, strongly encourage you to do so. And you just email him, scott@smartmoneyalliance.org. Are we good? All right. Well, thanks, everyone. Have a great day, and we'll see you back tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.